It is difficult to fully understand the beauty of life without sometimes looking at it from the outside, like a silent observer, watching the fleeting moments that pass by. It is in this position that we all find ourselves one day, questioning our existence, searching for answers that human words cannot always express. Humanity has always been fascinated by the ultimate transition, that moment when the soul leaves the body. What happens when we leave this world? Can we still perceive our loved ones, hear them, see them? These questions resonate deeply in all of us, whether spoken aloud or whispered in the corners of our minds. I remember one specific moment, as if time had stopped. It was just an ordinary day, like so many others. The soft morning light came through the window, casting shadows in the quiet room. The birds were singing, and life seemed to go on as usual. But that day, something was about to change. I didn't know it yet, but an event, a precise moment, would forever transform my perception of the world and the afterlife. I was at home, sitting alone with my thoughts, when everything shifted. A shiver ran through my body, like an invisible alert, a strange sensation pushing me to observe the details around me with a new intensity. I looked at my hands, those hands that had held books, written letters, and caressed loved ones' faces many times before. Then, a wave of warmth enveloped me, and I felt like everything was dissolving around me, as if the walls were melting into the air. I didn't have an immediate answer to this sensation, but something inside told me that this moment was somehow connected to questions I had often asked, even without fully understanding them. And that's when it all began. My heart started to beat faster, but it wasn't fear. It was like a call, an invitation to see something that is usually hidden. My eyes slowly closed, and as darkness consumed me, I perceived a light. A bright, soft, soothing light. It seemed to call me, inviting me to follow it, to cross an invisible veil, beyond what I knew. I wasn't afraid. It was as if an immense peace washed over me. I didn't understand what was happening, but there was a certainty within me. This wasn't the end, but a change, a passage, a transformation. This sensation intensified, and I felt my thoughts disperse, my consciousness separating from the physical reality. It was as if I was suspended between two worlds, both here and there. And then, something incredible happened. I saw faces. Familiar faces, those of my loved ones, of people who were no longer here, but who were still present, in a form I couldn't yet fully understand. They were there, surrounding me with their love, accompanying me through this transition. It was a strange sensation, and yet comforting. As if everything was connected, as if everything that had been separated, everything that seemed distant, was coming together in a moment of peace. I could feel their presence, their emotions. Their support was tangible, like a soft breeze on my skin. At that precise moment, I knew that what I was experiencing wasn't just a personal experience, but a fragment of a greater reality, a larger puzzle of which I was now a small part. This light was still calling me, gently urging me to move forward, to understand, to accept. I didn't fear it, I had no doubts. There was an absolute certainty. This wasn't the end, but the beginning of a new phase. But the question remains, what exactly happens when we cross this threshold? What I felt that day was far more than what science or religious tradition could explain. There is something divine, a presence, a consciousness that transcends us and, throughout our lives, subtly but constantly guides us. And that's when the story takes a turn, a revelation that would mark me forever. Dear friends, if you want to be part of our community and receive a special message in the next video, don't forget to leave a like and comment your name and city. By doing so, you'll have a chance to be featured in our next episode and possibly see your name on screen in front of thousands of people. It's your chance for a minute of fame, and we'd love to include you in this experience. And if you're not subscribed yet, take a moment to subscribe to our channel. Join our growing community, where we explore deep spiritual topics together. Your support, in the form of likes and subscriptions, makes all the difference and helps us continue creating videos for you. Thank you for being part of this spiritual journey with us. See you soon for the next chapter. There are moments in life when everything seems to stop. A suspended moment where one feels an eerie sense of distance, as if standing on the edge of two worlds. This is exactly what I experienced after that first encounter with the light. I didn't know if it was a dream, an illusion, or something greater. All I knew was that this moment, this crossing of the invisible boundary, had changed me forever. At first, everything felt blurry, like a light mist clouding my vision, but as my thoughts cleared, something unexpected happened. A presence. Not a physical form, but a deep consciousness that seemed to accompany me at every step, like a soft hand guiding my way through the unknown. It was comforting, yet at the same time, a burning curiosity surged within me. Where was I really going? What was happening beyond this veil of the unseen? The emotions began to intensify within me. Peace, freedom, the absence of pain. It was a new sensation, one that was incomprehensible, yet there was no doubt. It was real. I was no longer in control of what I was perceiving, but I knew that this experience was part of a much larger process, a passage necessary for reaching a higher state of understanding. I then felt something even more surprising, a deep connection with all those I had loved, those who had passed before me. It was as if their souls, in some inexplicable way, had joined me in this timeless place. I could feel them near me, their presence gentle yet palpable. They weren't speaking directly, but their energy was a silent voice that echoed throughout my being. A love pure, an understanding complete. It was as if time no longer existed. The boundaries between here and there seemed to dissolve. I no longer had a physical form, but my mind, my consciousness, was expanding in an infinite vastness. I could perceive the thoughts of other souls, their feelings. The intensity of the experience gave me a sense of total freedom, but also a weight, as if I were carrying the entire history of my being and of those around me. One of the most striking memories was the light. It wasn't blinding, but it was infinitely soft. It was everywhere around me, radiant without being harsh, warm without being oppressive. A light full of love, but also of wisdom. It drew me in, gently urging me forward, to explore what lay beyond this veil that separated the worlds. With each step I took in this light, it felt like I was drawing closer to the truth. But with every movement, the question persisted. Why me? Why was I here at this precise moment, and what was I meant to do with this knowledge? The strangest part of it all was the feeling of no longer being alone. I was no longer in the physical world, but I was not alone in this experience. There were guides, souls, presences who accompanied me. They were there to help me understand what was happening, to explain the path ahead. It was a feeling of divine companionship, and every being around me seemed to be there for a specific reason, as if every soul had a role to play in this spiritual journey. It was then that I understood. This was not a simple experience. This moment was a door, a gateway to something much larger and deeper than I had ever imagined. But there was still so much left unanswered. Why were these souls here? What awaited me on the other side? What was I to learn from all of this? The veil was lifted, but there were still mysteries to unravel. And so, within this infinite light, one thought crossed my mind. I had to return. It was not yet my time to pass over. My mission was not yet complete. The transition wasn't immediate. It wasn't just a sudden jump from one world to another. It was subtler than that, deeper. It was a process, a series of awakenings that unfolded with astonishing fluidity. It took me some time to understand that what I was experiencing wasn't merely a journey into the unknown, but a spiritual awakening. It was as if, after years of slumber, my eyes were turning towards a new light, a truth that I had been seeking but could never fully grasp. The most striking part of this experience was the profound sense of peace. It was like a calm sea, without waves, without turmoil. But at the same time, it was much more than that. It wasn't just the absence of conflict, it was a fullness, a total sense of completeness. Far from the noise, the stress, and the worries of daily life, I found myself in a state of absolute calm and infinite tranquility. A tranquility that you don't experience on Earth. I wasn't alone, of course. The souls that surrounded me were many, and yet I felt as if I were part of something larger, a collective consciousness that guided me. Each thought I had seemed to be understood, shared. It was as if I was both myself and, at the same time, everything else, a part of a grand whole. I was connected to invisible, but very real, forces that seemed to point the way forward, pushing me to explore and understand what was happening. The light that had drawn me in earlier now felt more present, but in a different way. It wasn't just a physical light. It was a living energy, vibrant, an energy of pure love and wisdom. There was no judgment here, only a warm welcome, a feeling of benevolence. Every breath of light seemed to fill me, to transform me, and it felt as though with each passing moment, I was becoming more and more aware of the true nature of the universe. It was a universe far more vast and complex than I had ever imagined. The physical dimensions of our world, with their limitations and rules, suddenly seemed trivial in the face of the greatness of what I was experiencing.
There was no space, no time.
Everything seemed to intertwine. Every event, every thought, every existence forming a perfect tapestry, a living fabric connecting all that was, is, and will be. There, at the heart of this light, I felt an even stronger presence, a more powerful entity. It wasn't visible, but I knew it was there, both close and distant, like a universal force, a divine energy guiding my path. And in this space of light, I heard a voice. Not a voice that you hear with your ears, but a voice you perceive with your soul. A voice that was gentle but filled with wisdom and depth, speaking to me about the importance of this experience, the importance of my journey. "You are ready," it said. "It is not your time yet, but you have a role to play. You must understand what this means for you and for those who will come after you. The journey you are embarking on is not just for you, but for all of humanity." It was a silent revelation, but a powerful one. I didn't need to understand everything at that moment. It was enough to know that there was a greater plan, something larger than myself, a mission to accomplish. But how would I go about fulfilling this role? I didn't yet have all the answers, but deep within, I knew that I had to return to the physical world, to my real life, to fulfill the purpose that awaited me. As the light surrounded me, a thought crossed my mind. The mission ahead would be much more difficult than I could imagine. But the inner peace and clarity I felt at that moment gave me complete confidence. I knew that no matter the obstacles that lay ahead, I would be guided, that the light would show me the way. Returning to the physical reality wasn't easy. After crossing that invisible boundary, where the material world seemed so distant, coming back to ordinary life was a bitter experience. The light, the peace, the wisdom, it all felt so close, so real, yet also out of reach. Every daily gesture, every breath seemed foreign, almost unreal, compared to the vastness of what I had experienced. I was walking once again in the world, but I couldn't help but feel that something had changed inside me. I was no longer the same person. The call, the mission that awaited me, was still present, a voice silently resonating in my soul, guiding me every step of the way. I knew I hadn't been brought back for nothing. There was a greater purpose behind my return, something I had to accomplish before I could cross that threshold for good. But what was this mission? I still had only a vague idea. The days passed, and I found myself observing the world with new eyes. The simple things, the small daily joys that we often take for granted, seemed more intense, more vibrant. Every smile, every act of love, every moment of silence now had a special meaning. But the question lingered. How was I, of all people, going to fulfill this mission I had been entrusted with? I had to understand what was awaiting me. It wasn't an easy path, not by any means. It was an inner journey, a path of profound transformation. But I felt that with each step I took, I was getting closer to the truth, to my true purpose in this world. One evening, as I walked through the streets of my city, a flash of understanding hit me. It was like a sudden illumination, an answer rising from the depths of my being. My role was not to bring some already known truth, but to help others find their own light. It wasn't about changing the world with a magic wand. It was about touching hearts, planting seeds of hope, love, and understanding. And that's when I understood. My mission was to share what I had experienced, to pass on the light I had seen, the wisdom I had perceived. It was a journey of awakening, not just for me, but for those who would believe in this truth. For we are all connected, all bound together by this divine energy that guides us. And even though the task ahead seemed enormous, it was clear to me that I would never be alone in this mission. The souls I had met, the invisible presences that had accompanied me, would be there at every step, helping and guiding me. This mission wasn't just a burden to bear, it was a blessing. It was the key to my own evolution and to the evolution of those around me. But how would I pass on this truth? How would I awaken others, allow them to understand the depth of what I had lived? The answer was clear. I had to start with myself. By living this truth, I would be able to pass it on to others. Every moment in this world, every encounter, every smile would be an opportunity to share this light. But the journey wasn't over. There were still mysteries to explore, truths to discover. And with each day, I felt that new revelation waiting for me. Dear friends, if this message resonates with you and you'd like to be part of our community, don't forget to leave a like and comment your name and city. By doing so, you'll have the chance to be featured in our next episode and possibly see your name appear on screen in front of thousands of people. It's your chance for a minute of fame, and we'd love to include you in this experience. The deepening of my mission didn't happen overnight. Each morning, I woke up still feeling that invisible presence, that call that never ceased to resonate within me. But there was a subtle shift in the way I perceived the world. The light I had seen, this divine energy, seemed to be guiding me not just in my thoughts, but in my everyday actions. I began to see signs everywhere around me. Sometimes they were small coincidences, events that reason might explain away as mere happenstance. But the more I paid attention, the more these moments seemed to multiply, as if they were answers to the questions I carried within me. Each encounter, each conversation felt like a piece of the puzzle I was meant to assemble. And with every step, the truth became clearer. One night, as I meditated deeply, a vision appeared before me. It wasn't a dream.
It was more tangible than that.
A vision of light and infinite wisdom, a divine force manifesting in all its grandeur. I was there, at the heart of this light, feeling an absolute peace, but also a power that surpassed everything I could understand. The vision showed me the connection between all souls, the way every life, every action, every thought contributed to a grander whole. I saw faces, the faces of people I had never met, yet somehow I recognized them. There were no words, no gestures. Everything was communicated directly to my soul, a language beyond words, a pure spiritual communication. The vision showed me future events, challenges humanity would face, but also the possibility for healing and elevation. A future where individuals, reconnecting with their divine essence, could transform the world around them. What I felt in that instant was a profound understanding. Humanity had a path to follow, a path of awakening. And this path was not just through intellect or reason. It was through opening the heart, through embracing this divine light within each of us. Love, compassion, mutual understanding were the keys to this transformation. It wasn't about power, wealth, or status. It was about humanity. It was about light. The vision also revealed biblical passages, ancient and sacred words that resonated like echoes through the universe. Messages of love, redemption, and forgiveness. Verses reminding us that we are all connected, that true peace is found in our ability to love and understand one another. I now understood that my mission was greater than I had imagined. It wasn't simply about understanding this truth, but about sharing it, embodying it in my daily life. And it was in this light, in this revelation, that I would find the strength to transform my own life and the lives of those around me.
But there was still one challenge.
This divine vision, though profound, was only the beginning. There was still one more step to take before this revelation could fully take form, before I could fully understand the meaning of my role in this world. and I knew that the next step would be decisive. As my spiritual journey progressed, I began to realize the profound impact my mission was having, not just on my own life, but on the lives of those around me. The transformation I had undergone was not a selfish process. It was a force that, slowly but surely, was beginning to touch those I interacted with. Every action, every word seemed to carry more weight, and every act of kindness resonated louder than ever. I now understood that what I had to share wasn't just a personal experience, but a universal truth, a light that could illuminate the darkness and offer deep peace to those who sought to understand. But sharing this truth wasn't always easy. Doubts, fears, and resistances, both external and internal, often arose. There were moments when I questioned whether I was truly ready to bear this heavy responsibility. Despite these doubts, something within me encouraged me to keep moving forward. The signs were there, all around me, reminding me that I was not alone in this mission. People, even those who appeared indifferent or unaffected, were slowly beginning to respond to the messages I was sharing. It wasn't immediate, but every small change, every little step toward understanding, encouraged me to continue. There was a snowball effect. Little by little, my words were touching hearts and elevating minds. But the impact of my mission went far beyond those who heard my words. It was in the energy that emanated from every encounter, every interaction, that the true transformation occurred. The people who crossed my path, even briefly, seemed to feel a form of peace, as if they had been reconnected to something greater than themselves. It was as if each of them received a spark of light that pushed them to question, to look deeper within themselves. I couldn't help but feel that what I had experienced was just a small part of a much larger divine plan. This mission, this light, it didn't belong to me. I was just a humble messenger, and it was the divine working through me, through all of us, to bring love, peace, and understanding into the world. My role was to be a channel, a guide for those who were ready to listen, to receive this light and pass it on in turn. This mission wasn't just a burden to bear, it was a blessing. It was the key to my own evolution and the evolution of those around me. But how was I to transmit this truth? How would I awaken others, allow them to understand the depth of what I had lived? The answer was clear. I had to start with myself. By living this truth, I would be able to pass it on to others. Every moment spent in this world, every encounter, every smile would be an opportunity to share this light. But the journey wasn't over. There were still mysteries to explore, truths to discover. And with each day, I felt a new revelation waiting for me. Dear friends, if you're inspired by this story and want to be part of our community, don't forget to leave a like and comment your name and city. By doing so, you'll have the chance to be featured in our next episode and possibly see your name appear on screen in front of thousands of people. It's your chance for a minute of fame, and we'd love to include you in this experience. The time had finally come. Everything I had lived through, all the revelations and spiritual experiences, had led me here, to the final chapter of my journey. It wasn't an end, but a beginning of something greater, deeper. The light I had encountered hadn't just transformed me, it had prepared me to help others discover this same light within themselves. There was a divine wisdom guiding this process, and every step, every revelation, had brought me closer to the truth I had been seeking all along. The universe, the divine energy, had shown me that everything was connected, everything was bound together. Nothing was accidental. Every event, every encounter, every moment of my life had a deeper meaning than what I could perceive with my physical eyes. But as I reached this understanding, one thought filled my mind. We all have this light within us. It's not a privilege reserved for a few, but a potential each of us carries. Everyone has the ability to connect to this divine energy, to open their heart to the love and peace that lie beyond the material world. And this was the message I was meant to carry. This was the message I was meant to share with the world. True spiritual ascent isn't a journey outward, but an inner journey. It's in the silence of the soul, in the depths of our being, that we find the truth. And once this truth is discovered, it must be shared, spread, passed on to the world. That's what I was here for. not just for myself, but for all of humanity. I had understood that my true mission wasn't simply to live in the light, but to guide other souls toward this light. The spiritual journey is not solitary, it is collective. We are all connected, and it is in unity that we will reach our highest potential. What I was doing, what I was learning wasn't just for me, it was for all those who would believe, who would seek to awaken and elevate to a higher consciousness. And so, I prepared to continue this journey, to share this light with those who were ready to receive it. But I knew that this was just the beginning of a larger adventure. For there is always more to discover, always more to understand. The light is infinite, and all that I had learned was but a fraction of what the universe has to offer. Dear friends, if you have found inspiration in this journey, I invite you to continue this adventure by clicking on the video that is appearing on the screen. This next video will be even more revealing and transformative for your life. You don't want to miss it. Don't forget to leave a like and comment.